every time something happens, it
Yeah.
takes up real estate in your mind. Well, you only have
Yeah.
so much land.
Wow. That's a great thought.
And it gets to a point to where as things continue to come and you don't manage your properties, then you've oversold. Well, what do you do?
Ooh, that's really good.
Welcome, everybody, to the very first episode of the Couple Goals podcast,
Okay.
where a healthy you
Plus a healthy me.
plus a healthy me equals a happy us. Now,
Mm.
okay, for all of our faithful listeners, you're probably thinking to yourself or wondering, what in the world happened to the Baloney podcast?
Yeah. And what we decided to do was to create a podcast here that's exclusively talking to singles who looking to mingle
Mm-hmm.
and married
Mm.
individuals who want the tools to become healthy and to get locked in on the goals that lead to a happily fulfilled relationship. With a lot of the couples that we coach and a lot of the couples that attend our workshops or conferences, what we've discovered is you'll be fighting over the symptoms and you're not really digging in to get to the root of why there's so much dissension and chaos within a relationship. When I say chaos, chaos is fighting, arguments, feeling disconnected, at a point where you don't know if you're in love or you deeply love them, but they're getting on your nerves. And I think a lot of that has to do with some of it's just sometimes life is life and you're transitioning and you're kind of clashing because of the season that you're in. And a lot of times, and I think the majority of the times, the couples haven't clearly laid out the desires of their hearts to be able to create an environment where you can work together toward the same end.
Yeah. And most of the times in relationships, you do have one person who has a goal, a vision in mind. But because they're at odds with one another, it's really hard to gain traction.
Hmm.
But then in other relationships, they're bypassing the work that needs to be done in order to reach that goal. And so, our whole goal with Couple Goals is to not just inspire you and encourage you on your journey of growth together and reaching those goals, but it's like, okay, as you're taking the journey, you may hit a bump in the road, and you're at odds with one another, or you just can't seem to get right, or you may realize that, hey, I need some inner healing. And so I kind of like to look at it as the board game of life. Um, you just kind of, as you're going on in this journey, stuff happens, transitions happen,
Yep.
life happens, and you realize you have to take a little bit of detour. Well, we want to be on that detour road with you.
Yeah.
And so that's when we're saying, hey, on this journey of couple goals, as you walk this life out, you're going to have to make a left and do some inner healing work.
Yeah.
Well, our goal is to be able to provide you with a path to get some inner healing.
Yeah.
Whether maybe it's couples counseling or coaching, we want to be able to partner with you on that as well.
Yeah. So I want to go back at the time into a moment of thank you for
Do you
the
know what that was from?
Bill and Ted. Excellent
I
adventure.
just showed my age.
I remember when we first got together, um, there was that stage of puppy love, you know what I mean, where can't keep your hands off and you're flirting all the time, you're going out to eat and you're dating. And then all of a sudden real life kind of sets in the sense that we were stretched thin.
Yeah.
Had 3 kids in 3 years and trying to work and trying to survive. And the focus shifted from romancing, dating, playful fun, chasing each other. And it more so became like, okay, life is life. And then if we don't, swim, we're going to sink. So you put all your effort into survival, and I think that for me personally at that time, the pressure of both manhood, parenting, marriage, all of that pressure led me to one thought. I just needed places to escape. So if I was to say from the moment we were together, dating, connecting, and then all of a sudden to that moment where all the pressure of 4 years of being together, and having 3 kids back to back, which is, I don't regret the kids. It's just with anything that you add to your life, to whom much is given, much is required.
Sure.
So there was just this level of weight to my perspective that I needed in my mind, rightfully so, respite and recreation and an outlet. And so that for me became basketball right after spending, 10 hours at work. I would get up at 5:30 in the morning, be on the construction site working all day, come home and play basketball with a friend. Then I would try to play video games. After that, might cook a little bit or something. And so my goal in that moment, if I could have went back to, 21-year-old Sean, 23-year-old Sean and said, "Sir, what just shifted for you was a goal. It was a goal to alleviate pressure, to find respite, to have some sense of, like, fun, or at that moment, I probably would have called it freedom. It wasn't now, I would call it freedom now. Back then, I would have called it fun. But what it really was I was trying to escape, and the way that I escaped was gaming multiple times over, basketball, whatever, and it was at the expense of moments that you needed, which were intimacy, instead of spending
Conversations.
yeah,
Yeah.
spending time with 3 kids all day long, and then all of a sudden I get home and I'm still not present.
Yep.
And it wasn't because I was trying to do it in spite of you. I wasn't trying to hurt you, but at the same time I was neglecting you,
Mhm.
which did hurt,
Mhm.
you know? So I wish back then I would have had this discussion that we're having now, because I think some of the ways that you discover what goals you need to have, you really need to recognize where your mind is right now. You have to recognize, like, what season am I in? What am I coping with? What's on my plate? What's irritating me? What's weighing me down?
Because you could be operating in an unhealthy process or an unhealthy outlet, and it's just not catering to the season or the pace of life you're in right now.
Yeah, I would say in that case, then I'll say this because to your point, it was unhealthy because of how it hurt the relationship.
Mhm.
My outlets though weren't,
Mm.
which is the where the deception lies.
Yeah.
Because in my
You weren't
brain,
doing anything wrong. You weren't cheating on me. You weren't ignoring me. You weren't, yeah. So it's not like you didn't come in the house and acknowledge me and
mm,
you talk to the kids and sit down with the kids, right? You did all of that. But then after you did that, you changed your clothes, you ate the food that I cooked, and then you went and played the video games.
yeah, it was like I assumed in my brain that you got it and that you would have been okay with it. And when you finally decided to say something about it, what were you met with? I don't remember exactly how I responded. Like when you finally started.
Oh, you snapped. You were upset because again, you didn't see anything wrong with it. But sharing my perspective, it was like, well, it was like you were saying that I didn't share in your woes of
Mhm.
the day, but then I was also saying you weren't sharing in my woes of the day. So we weren't hearing one another.
So it wasn't the happiest.
It was it was not a happy us at
Yeah.
all.
And so I think like now it leaves the door open for us equally to interpret the other person's motive. And with poor communication, you're gonna be left with whatever the story is in your head.
Yeah.
So for me, the story I was hearing in my head to fill in the gap for what I thought you were saying and misinterpreting at that time would have been, she doesn't see how hard I'm working. She doesn't appreciate me. She doesn't value. Oh, here it is, another thing on my plate.
Yeah.
So in my immaturity, I do want to say, so if you listen and you thinking that you might be dealing with some immaturity, I was,
Yeah.
and it really wasn't your fault. But then comes in the old Adam and Eve moment. It's where I now ascribe blame, because the story I'm telling myself is, "I'm not feeling good right now because you're bringing up a complaint,"
Yeah.
when technically it was a request.
Yeah.
But I saw it as a complaint in my immaturity. I interpreted it as, "Oh, man, here another burden." I then blame this level of accountability, more responsibility
Yeah.
with you not understanding, and so now what do? I distance myself, right?
Yeah. So that is a great example of why we say a healthy you plus a healthy me equals a happy us, right?
Yeah,
Two whole people
yeah,
equal a fantastic, satisfying, thriving relationship.
yeah.
But in that scenario that you just shared, you were immature.
Mhm.
There were some areas in your life that needed development, and both of ours that needed some development, some growth, some maturity, some healing.
Yeah.
And a lot of couples out there, they're together, but one person may be unhealthy, both people may be unhealthy, and
Right.
they're just not happy.
Yeah. I think, we see couples all the time. We lead couple goals reset. It is
Yeah, that's the name of it.
yeah, it's a couple goals reset, which is an intensive. It's like 2 days where we sit with couples.
It's a 2-day face-to-face, but it's a 30-day process.
Yeah. And so you don't sit with us for 30 days.
No.
We
I don't wanna sit with you for 30 days.
we sit with you for 2 days, and then afterwards you go through a process to help with you guys to reset within a relationship. And if you're interested in that, in the show notes, in the description, you click a link, you can find out more details about it. But one of the things that we constantly see is that two people are pitted against one another literally because of the narrative in their minds.
Yep, yep.
You
They're sold on what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the problem is it doesn't leave much room to work together to resolve whatever the real problem is. So, if you were to go back to the scenario that I was dealing with, where you're bringing up a need, a genuine need that is happening as a result, not of me intentionally trying to harm you, but as a result of me not knowing how to balance work, life, recreation, finance, ministry, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know how to balance. What I really needed was a coach. I really needed somebody who had been there, done that, who could sit me down as a man and say, hey, you got a lot on your plate, but there's time enough in your schedule for it all. Let's let's set some goals.
yeah,
And it would have been for me to say, all right, I might work from this time to this time, get home, first hour of the day is just to hear how you doing.
yeah,
15 minutes on the couch with you would have made a world of difference. I'm not saying that that's all you would have got, but 15 minutes on the couch to where it was just eyeball to eyeball conversation with you to be able to make sure that you felt seen by another adult
yeah,
and fully knew the goal of my work wasn't just to pay bills,
yeah,
because I could pay bills whether you there or not. That doesn't to you land as if it's care or something like that. Even though you appreciate it, it's not
yeah,
the same as quality time and eyeball to eyeball conversation. So I feel like to be able to pinpoint that and then say, all right, bro, here's how much time you got for recreation.
yeah,
Here's how much time clean up around house, yada, yada, yada. And you can do it.
yeah,
That for me would have been to recenter me in such a way that I don't take out the stress of the world and pressures of manhood and
yeah,
having 3 kids under 4, you know what I mean,
yeah,
on you.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that would have helped, and this is what we teach couples in the couple goals reset, is okay, let's put down the magnifying glass and let's pick up a mirror. A lot of the times we are very focused on what the other person is not doing
Right.
or what the other person is doing that's very
Yeah,
offensive,
absolutely.
right? So, like getting in the habit of, yes, you are married. Yes, you are one. Yes, you shared this life with the other person. But let's look at you for a second
Mhm.
and let's focus on you and your thoughts and what you're believing and what you're contributing to the climate, whether it's hostile or, y'all both playing the silent treatment with
Mhm.
one another. Let's look at your behavior.
Mhm.
Let your, we'll talk about your spouse in a second. And a lot of times when we meet with couples, they come to the coaching wanting us to fix their spouse.
Mhm.
And they realize, oh, snap, this isn't just about my spouse.
Right.
This is about me.
Yeah, and it's really not in the sense that you're supposed to limit denial to the other person's negativity,
Mm.
right? Or the other person's behavior that's contributing to the household in a damaging way. Like if you with somebody and they're betraying trust, like we're not saying
Right.
tolerate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not saying like to ignore it. No, we're gonna dive in it, we're gonna resolve it. But I bet 99.9% of the time, after some wear and tear of life, there's something you're deprived of. There's something within you that needs to be fully filled.
Yeah.
And what happens is, and this is kind of interesting, what happens is in the seasons of life, like I said, all the flirting, dating, kicking it, all the chase, when we ain't no kids.
Oh, yeah, it's
I
easy.
mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Sure.
saying? So it was like,
And a lot of couples compare themselves their relationship to where they are now, 5 kids, 2 dogs,
Yeah.
3, fish, and 2 full-time jobs,
Why they got fish?
to when they were dating. And it's like, guys, that almost don't count. Now, I mean, the chase should still be there, and we can talk about what that should look like.
But it's not the same.
It's so unfair.
Yeah, and so
So unfair.
I think that then if you were to think like, okay, the first kid, how much energy did that take out of the wife just having it? The husband dealing with the new life, just adjusting to sleep patterns and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Then you had to pay more. The expenses change. The bills have changed. How did that affect you mentally?
Yeah.
Then the next one comes out.
Like,
And how did that affect you mentally and financially? And so it's not to be bitter about children, it's just to acknowledge that if there was a gas tank of mental awareness, social awareness, financial frustration, you know, if you were to see it as a gas tank of like energy for the healthiest, happiest version of myself, I promise you, there's some joy in that because you looking at the baby walk and they cute, and there's some joy in all of this, but there's also you're being deprived of a lot. So if that's the case, when did you get refilled?
yes.
And what'll end up happening is more than likely, I look for you.
Yes.
So
To satisfy it, to fill it, to tell me something, to fill me up. I like to call it, your mind only has so much real estate, right? And every time you have a kid, they take up a block in your brain.
mhm.
Every time you get a promotion, every time, something adjusts in your life or shifts in your life, and in your family, right? Extended family. Every time something happens, it
Yeah.
takes up real estate in your mind. Well, you only have
Yeah.
so much land.
Wow. That's a great thought.
And it gets to a point to where as things continue to come and you don't manage your properties, then you've oversold. Well, what do you do?
Ooh, that's really good.
Yeah.
I would also want you to unpack this thought with that concept of how you can technically the mind can only focus on purely one thing at a time.
One thing at a time. So, like, people love multitasking. I love multitasking, right? I do. I really love multitasking. But our brains really to be able to be successful at a thing, it really should focus on that thing solely.
Yeah.
You can't be here and there at the same time. You're dividing your brain. You're dividing your thoughts. So your brain, there is no way that your brain can focus 100%
Right.
on these two things
All at the same time.
all at the same time. I am not saying that you can't cook dinner and watch your kids at the same time.
Right.
I'm not talking about that. However, there are some things that you can do
It's hard to be frying chicken and
to prep.
keeping little Billy from sticking his hand inside.
Yeah, yeah. So we can prep to where you can divide your brain in the sense of 95% of
Right.
my attention is on the fried chicken
Mm,
and 5% is on my kid who I have put in a room
yep.
or watching TV and they're safe, right? But if you really want to be great at something, at least for a hot minute, you really
It's on one property at a time.
focus on one property at a time. So if you can't do that, then you have to really ask yourself, have I oversold an area of my brain that I now need to put up, there's a for sale sign.
That's really good.
Like I'm not, or it's just, it needs to be vacant right now.
I'm curious to help everybody identify if they're at that place. And then again, for me, back then, I was there. I was there. But it was just like life was happening. And as life was happening, I was just
Reacting to it.
reacting, but more I mean, you can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you're pregnant, you got a kid, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like, okay, I'll make room for that, and so I'll get more hours. And so you just kind of you put your head down and you do it. I didn't really process it in the sense of like, hey, let me pause. What the heck did this mean for my life?
I don't think a lot of people are.
I know I didn't.
I mean,
And so with that thought though, so if that was me back then, and in my brain I'm just surviving, I'm not really thinking about the overwhelm maybe until I break down. or it oozed out into the relationship, and now my relationship is struggling.
Yeah.
Crazy thing is, when you bring up the issue, now I'm dealing with what I would call relationship drama. So it almost hijacks the reality of what my real issue was.
Ah, because you really didn't have a problem with me,
No,
and I didn't have a problem with you.
no.
Yeah, that's good.
And
It's
so
good.
so what looks to be a marital crisis,
More real estate.
that's what it was. And that's why I was saying I needed somebody to help me learn balance. I needed somebody to take me to the side and say, Sean, you can only, and it ended up being my spiritual mentor, who sat me down one day and he told me, he said, Sean, if you had a pie, he always got illustrations. Shout out to Kevin Dickerson. He always got an illustration. And so one day I was telling him I'm so stressed out and all this. And he said, would you try to eat a whole pie at
Well,
one time? Well, he
what
said,
what kind of
well, let me tell you what he said though. And I was like, I like cake now. And so he was like, would you eat the cake at all at one time? And I was like, how would I do it? He was like, you would slice it up and you would do it bite by bite, and you can only focus on one bite at a time.
Yeah,
And you're trying to consume the whole thing.
yeah.
And no wonder I was venting and spaced out. And so some of y'all are dating somebody
The brain pain coach.
is the brain pain coach. He needs some high quality H2O. It's like- So if I look back now and I say, okay, he helped me to discover, okay, I got to take one thing at a time. I cannot focus on multiple things at the same time. So how would a person know that this probably ain't even like a your fault, my fault? It's more like I'm in a state of overwhelm. I'm not dealing well with balance. How do I get to the root of that to say, like, man, I need margin?
I think if you find yourself being quick to respond and emotional, like if someone brings something up to you and you're quickly triggered, quickly annoyed,
Which I was.
quickly on the defensive,
Mhm.
then I would say you've oversold your property.
Yeah, I'm
You
pretty much, Popeye said, "It's all I can stand, and I can't stand no
Stance no
more."
more. Yeah.
And then I would explode.
Yeah.
Popeye got muscles. I got loud.
Because if I say something to you and you Popeye me, right? Then me being aware, it's like, okay, I didn't say anything offensive. Let me double check what I said and how I said it. If then it's like, okay, I didn't say anything that was wrong and it was great. And this was a healthy desire
Mhm.
for me to have time and spend time with my husband. And he popped off like that. Something's wrong.
Right, which I wanna talk about in the next episode. We're gonna talk about in the next episode
What can we talk about?
because I feel like
Because
that's
I don't know.
a whole conversation, that we just need to have about when you have something sensitive to say to your spouse or something important, and they don't give you the safe space to talk about it. I think that that is a big deal because for me, even though I had my little bandwidth issue, it still wasn't healthy in the way that I reacted. I was so triggered by life that I also turned around and was short fused with you. And so if I was to, challenge you guys who maybe in a season of life where you just realize like, whoa, some of this is you reading my mail. This is exactly where I am. And whether you're single and you're looking to mingle or you're married or you're engaged and you're finding yourself in this position, I really want you to just kind of take a step back from the other person, not in the sense of quit the relationship, but I'm saying take a deep breath and just kind of find a quiet space to just be able to say to yourself, okay, wait, where am I? You know what I mean? I know some of y'all might not be, Christians, you might not read the Bible. I love the book of Genesis. I love Adam and Eve. I love the whole story of it. And it's a cool thought that even if you don't believe it, just go back to it and just kind of look at it and see how much truth there is in just the reality of our human nature. Adam and Eve found themselves in a predicament where they were hiding, they were ashamed, and when God comes to them to speak to them in the garden, he asks a simple question, Adam, where are you?
Yep.
And Adam had to reflect and realize, like, I'm no longer my brave,
Yeah.
walking the garden.
Something within me has changed.
Something in me has changed. I'm no longer walking the garden with confidence and we're hiding behind bushes, man. Why am I hiding behind hoops? Why am I hiding behind hours on the game at a time? It wasn't just because I was addicted to gaming. It's because I needed to zone out from life. That's not a Lanette problem. That's a Sean issue that affects Lanette. And for me, I needed to tap into is some of you all what they may look like is doom scrolling on your phone. It may look like you can't help but watch the next TV series that gets dropped. It may be that you literally have cut yourself off from all communication to people who really care about you and were trying to give you good advice. It may be that the only place that you find a sense of closure is with your kids
Yeah.
and you've walled yourself off from your partner. It may be that you are at a space where you're on shopping sprees just to you keep spending money and don't know why. You don't even need nothing else.
It's any area in your life that has excess.
Mhm.
Why does it have to have so much of your time,
Yeah.
so much of your money,
Mm.
so much of your energy?
And it's almost like compulsive.
Yeah.
Like you have to have it or and you can't, you know, find yourself just put the phone down and you
And
almost
be at
can't.
peace. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't be at peace and if you can't be at rest, like I want to challenge you. If you can put away the phone, the television, everything else that you find yourself leaning into, and I just want you to sit with yourself and your thoughts for 20 minutes.
My mama.
20 minutes. 10. Because some of y'all, I just felt in the spirit. Y'all was like, 20. Okay, 10. If you can't sit with your thoughts for 10 to 15 minutes without reaching for it,
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
you've oversold.
Yeah, so the silence is a great indicator of contentment. And when a person can't sit in silence, you can't deal with the reality of those thoughts and process through them. You gotta have noise,
Yeah.
gotta have something in your hand, gotta have something. Then that's showing that there's a sense of unrest
Yeah.
and we need to get some peace. Listen, my friends,
Good.
we have a resource that we want to give you and it's free. It's called the Couple Goals Vision Retreat. This will help you to ask and answer the questions that you and your soon to be or your one that you are being with. You need to fill this out and talk to one another about these most essential areas of your relationship. Lanette and I now do this annually. We
Yep.
always talk about our couple goals, and it's transformed our relationship. This will help to bring things out into the open that need to be addressed. It'll help you guys get on the same page and to plan about the areas that you dream about, the areas that you're frustrated with, the areas that you're passionate about that need to be discussed and expressed. We give you a full outline. It's absolutely free.
Yep.
You can click the link in the show notes and it'll be a great blessing to you, your future someday partner, or the partner that you got right now. We expect for you to engage, grab a hold to this resource so that a healthy me plus a healthy you can equal a happy us. Make sure you listen to this again, share it with your boo thing, share it with some friends. And we also would like to ask that if this was beneficial to you, that you would please subscribe.